Right.
Right.
Lovely. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been part of King's? And what do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Okay, so I've been part of King's Church, I think for about 10 years now.
Me too.
I started, I moved here as a student in 2010, which was 10 years ago, from Community Church Huddersfield, which is obviously partnered with King's and part of Pioneer. And I actually started off in Salford
Oh,
back
yeah.
when we met. Oh gosh, it was somewhere on the university campus, in this random building in the university campus. And then now I'm part of King's Church Central, which is amazing. I am married to the very handsome and very talented Kalani Koyejo, and I am an occupational therapist in an urgent care team in the NHS.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of awesome things. So, I'd love to ask you more about your amazing husband, but sadly we have to move on.
I know, and I could talk all day about him. So.
I know. Right. So, coronavirus is pretty, it's been a really difficult time, hasn't it, the last couple of months?
Yeah.
I mean, is it 3 months now since lockdown started? It's quite a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, and do you know how I remember, Josh? Because lockdown happened on my birthday, which is
yeah.
just in March.
Yeah, I remember because they closed the restaurants on my birthday, and I wanted to go out and celebrate.
We did a party at the end of this.
Oh yeah, definitely. So cool. So obviously it's impacted you. How has it impacted your life, Holly? And obviously working as an occupational therapist, how has it impacted your work environment as a key worker? Over your husband as well, a key worker. How has it impacted you?
Yeah, so for me, obviously I haven't been able to work from home, so it's not affected I've not been like locked down in the house.
Yeah.
I have obviously been able to go out to work. So the way it's kind of affected us, our service, so what our service does is we are based in the community.
Yeah.
And we go and we treat people at home. And the idea is that we actually prevent people from going into hospital. So the idea is that we can put things in place. It might be if someone's become ill or someone's kind of functional ability, so their ability to look after themselves, to manage in their own environment, that might have declined. So we go in to basically kind of get them back to how they were and get them independent and safe in their homes.
Right.
But we also see people when they've come out of hospital as well. So someone might be in hospital for X amount of time and then they're ready to go home. We see them the day that they go home and basically just make sure that they're safe in their own environment. So what's happened kind of since lockdown, at first we were really quiet and no one wanted us to go and see them because no one wanted people in their homes, which is absolutely fair enough.
Yeah.
But since then our service has really ramped up. We've been very busy. So I work 12.5-hour shifts, which means I work 3 days on and have 4 days off, and it's not necessarily 3 days in a row. Sometimes I have 1 day in, 1 day out, that sort of thing. But I've been working extra shifts to help cover the service. We've also had staff off as well, ill with COVID-19. So we've been working a lot more, which has been good. It's also been like very tiring. We've seen a lot of people who have been ill with COVID or people who are still ill with COVID in their own homes. So we've obviously been around a lot of people who have experienced the virus. But I think the major thing that we've seen is people who have been poorly with COVID-19 and have been so poorly that they've been on the intensive care unit, have had to be tracheed, so they've had a tube put in their throats to help them breathe. And usually when that happens, they have to give the patient drugs that kind of basically paralyze their body and put them into a coma so their body can recover from the virus. What that means is when someone's been laid in hospital bed paralysed, it causes their muscles to become very weak, and that causes their functional ability, so their ability to walk and do things for themselves, that declines. So when they go home, we've been going in and we've been rehabbing these people for 7 days, because we're an urgent care service, and then we hand them over to a longer term therapy hub in the community that continue to work with them to get them back to their baseline. And we've seen a lot of people who prior to getting the illness were completely fine. Some of them not even have any sort of underlying conditions, but it's just the fact that it's just hit them really hard and it's made them really poorly. So that's probably been the biggest change, I think, is our client base. Usually we look after elderly people, but we've seen a lot more people in their 40s, 50s, 60s who, for the most part, are completely healthy until they've kind of had this virus. Yeah.
Wow. So, I mean, as you're saying all that, I'm thinking, like, coronavirus is pretty serious, but I guess I realised how serious it was when obviously lockdown was first announced, but you become like desensitized to it, don't you? Like, your role seems to like bring it to life a bit more every day, that actually this is still a really serious disease.
Yeah, it is really serious. And, when you work in the NHS, with anything, not just with COVID-19, you're exposed to seeing kind of the effects of illness and, different conditions and diseases. You're exposed to it a lot more.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing, the flip side of that as well, is there's people who've had it and we expect them to be a lot more poorly because they've been elderly or they've had an underlying condition, and actually they've coped with it really well, and they've done a lot better than we kind of expect them to. So even though there's been some scary things on one side, there's also been some really hopeful stuff kind of on the other side. People surviving it and doing really well despite having it. So it's a real mixed bag.
Yeah. Tell us a bit more than Holly, but do you have any sort of testimonies, like over the past few months, have you seen God kind of working in your life or in your work sort of during this time?
Yeah, I think the main thing really is just how much God has sustained me and sustained us as well.
Yeah.
We actually get swabbed regularly because we come into
Really?
contact with a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
It's awful. They like shove it right down your throat, and right through your nose, and it's like it's a bit traumatic, but it's necessary. So we get swabbed regularly, obviously to make sure that we're not carrying it. And we have had people on the team who've been off poorly. We've also had some people on the team who've displayed no symptoms but have tested positive for COVID-19.
Wow, so they've been carrying it?
Yeah, so
wow.
Carrying it, but not had any symptoms, which is really good, because it's not made them poorly. But obviously, like, if you don't know that you're carrying it, that you could kind of pass it on to other people. But every time I think I've had about 6 swabs, and all of them have come back negative. And which is I feel really really just covered in the blood of Jesus. I feel really protected, and it's been amazing, because I've treated a lot of active COVID patients, so I was kind of just gearing myself up for, at some point I'm gonna get this, but so far it's I've not felt unwell, and I've not had any symptoms, I've not had any positive swabs, so that's been a real testimony. And again as well, because Kalani is working from home, he works for Talk, and I've wanted to be really careful about not passing anything on to him as well and keeping him safe. But he's been absolutely fine as well. He's not had any symptoms or anything, so I just feel like God has really protected us in that too. But I had a lot of people praying for me. My mum wanted me to send like all my shifts when I was in work. She said, send me all your shifts, and she's been praying for me. Like, she prays for me anyway, she's my mum, but she's been actively praying when I've been on shift that I'm protected and all this kind of stuff. So that's been amazing. And she's got her church family doing that as well. So I've just been really blessed by people covering me in prayer. So that's been absolutely amazing.
Wow, you've got an amazing parents and amazing church family back home as well. Just praying for you.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Wow, you're very lucky. You're blessed.
I am, yeah.
Wow. That's really cool, Holly. Really cool, just to see that God's obviously got his hand over you and protecting you and Kalani as well. That's just a really cool testimony, you know, in terms of you've had the test 6 times and you're completely free from it. We pray that continues.
Thank you.
Is there more kind of tests to come? Is that a regular thing?
Yeah, it's we were getting swabbed weekly, but now what they said is it's kind of up to us how often we want to get swabbed, because obviously there's only a limited amount, there's only so many swabs. So what we don't want is to, as healthcare workers, use up all the swabs when we're kind of we're not displaying any symptoms or anything like that. We want those to be used kind of more towards people who need them. So we're still getting swabbed kind of every so often, but maybe not as regularly as once a week anymore. But if we do start to display symptoms, we can get a swab. Or we can just have it sort of every couple of weeks. So I'm kind of going with just every couple of weeks now. Just because I do want to be careful, I don't want to pass it on to the vulnerable patients that I see kind of on a regular basis. But I also don't want to be using up swabs that could be used for somebody else who really, really needs them as well. So it's just finding that balance. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Yeah. You're using swabs up.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So stepping back a little bit. So obviously looking back the last 3 months or so, has God been speaking to you during this whole time? And is there anything he's been saying to you? You know, if you look at this whole situation, has he been saying anything to you, Holly?
Yeah, I think one of the things that God has been speaking to me about is just I guess what I'm called to do. And I've always really felt called to be to work in healthcare, to work in looking after people. And don't get me wrong, there's been times it's been really difficult. I'm like, God, why did you call me to this profession? Why am I doing this? Why am I in this situation? Why is it? Because there's been days where it's been so stressful and so crazy. But I just do really feel like God's been I've called you for such a time as this, to be, light and salt in the world, and kind of just reminding me of my calling and things like that. And I guess as well, just taking time to really rely on him and get to be sustained by him and to get all I need from him and not be reliant on myself, because there are some times where it's I can't, all the time I know that I can't do this without God, because otherwise I would just probably explode. So I think just knowing where my source is and who my source is has been just a real reminder of that. And I think as well, just knowing that, a lot of the time we like to think that things are in our control, and actually they're not, and they shouldn't be either. That we need to kind of turn our face towards God and look at him, and allow his rule and reign in this world, because when we try and do it on our own, it's just a bit of a mess, really. And I guess as well, taking time to reflect and just to listen to him and things like that. So it's just been God reminding me, I think, of kind of who he is and who he is in my life has been a real time of reflecting on that. Yeah,
that's really helpful. That's really good. Thanks, Holly. Wow, it's really blessed me. Cool. Yeah, it's much needed reminder, isn't it? God is he's working all things together, isn't he? Cool. I guess just moving on, or kind of similar then. So in terms of hearing from God, listening to him, You know, obviously not everyone has the privilege of being at home, they have to go out and work, but for those who are stuck at home, maybe even on furlough, maybe with more time to spend with God, do you have any sort of like just tips and you know, maintaining a healthy relationship, any creative ways that people can hear from God or go deeper?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard for me to advise those who are at home and have been furloughed, because I've not had that experience.
Yeah.
You know, I've been quite lucky that I'm able to leave the house and go to work.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't want to kind of be like, oh yeah, this is how you do it, because I'm probably not the best person to ask.
Yeah.
But what I would say is there's no right way. I think there's no like set way to kind of connect with God, because everybody is different, and he knows that. He knows that he's made us all differently. Like that was his intention. So I think, you know, for one person it might be you know, quiet reflection, silence, that sort of thing. For other people it might be playing music really loud, worship music, or singing really loudly, or worshiping really loudly. Some people it might be art, some people it might be journaling. You know, some people it might be doing practical things, you know, worship and in the form of serving other people. So you know, putting together stuff for the people, or you know, going out and blessing their neighbours. I think there's so many different ways to connect with God, and I think it's just finding that the right way for you, what works for you. And just because one thing works for somebody else doesn't mean that's going to work for you, and that's okay. So it's a good opportunity, I guess, to explore the different ways that we can connect with God, and thinking outside the box as well, and having that opportunity to maybe do that a bit more than we would in our sort of day-to-day life.
Awesome. Thank you. Cool. I like that. I like blessing your neighbours as a way of encountering God. I think that's true. That's definitely something that we should do. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to ask you how we can pray for you, but before I ask that question, I always ask people ask a random question, and so you ready for a random question?
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening now. Right, you mentioned worship music. Yeah. I just wonder, Holly, is there any like good music at the moment that we should be listening to?
What, good worship music?
Yeah. Is there anything that you recommend?
Oh gosh.
You could even be biased. You could even say like.
Can I be very biased?
Yeah, if you want.
Well, I would say go and listen to Rivers and Robots, definitely.
Okay. I've heard they're amazing.
They are amazing. In fact, their original drummer is particularly handsome and particularly talented. So their first few albums, definitely go and listen to those.
You better be married to this person, because you.
I mean, yes, I do happen to be married. Yeah. Lucy Grimble. She sang at my wedding. She's amazing. She's got incredible music out, and she absolutely loves the Lord with all of her heart, and has just an amazing outpouring of worship to him. So she's got a few albums. I would definitely go and suggest that you listen to her. Oh gosh, who else?
Sorry, I stumped you. I know that you listen to awesome music, but I've definitely stumped you.
Who else? There's loads of people that create amazing music. In fact, I think actually it's just a good opportunity as well. Being at home is to explore like people's music. People putting music out all the time. In fact, I've got two friends who are like the worship pastors at the Ramp Church. Clayton and Olivia Webb, they've got some stuff on Spotify as well, and they just again love God and love worshiping God. So definitely go and check out them, and just have a little see on Spotify, for example. There's other platforms available, but it's just a good opportunity to kind of search and see like what's out there, because there's loads of amazing Christian artists who are putting things out who maybe aren't as kind of in the forefront of Christian music, but they're definitely there, and they're definitely making stuff.
Yeah, that's good, because obviously, we go to the big names and the big labels, but it's nice, isn't it, to listen and support local, smaller sort of independent.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
So you're on Spotify?
Yes.
So people can just follow you. You
If
can
they
follow
want.
people. You can follow people on Spotify, and then they can listen to what you listen to.
Yeah, they could do. It's not. I don't listen to Christian music all the time. Like, I'm not gonna pretend that I do. I listen to lots of different things. So if they're following me because they think, oh, this is a great place to like just
It's all
listen to
right.
lots of Christian music.
If people see what I listen to, I would just say, well, no, it automatically plays. It goes off into random songs and just starts playing stuff I wouldn't normally listen to. So if like Beyonce is playing on my Spotify, I just say,
amazing.
It just happened. It wasn't me. Right. Cool. Thanks, Holly. Awesome. Okay. So how can we pray for you? How can King's Church be praying for you? And I guess Kalani as well during this time.
Yeah, I think just praying again for kind of again continuous sort of sustainability, and God just to continue to sustain me in my work. And pray for my team as well. I'm part of a really amazing team. I have absolutely incredible colleagues who I love them all dearly. They're absolutely amazing, and I feel really blessed that I get to kind of see them all the time and do this work and kind of deal with this coronavirus with them. You know, and different people, everyone's finding it difficult, and there's for different reasons. So I just would really ask King's Church to pray for the team that I work on, just to protect them, to give them peace, to give them joy, to give them everything that they need for us all to kind of deal with this situation. And just to pray as well for Kalani. He's working from home. He's getting a little bit stir crazy from time to time. So I think just to pray for him as well, just for peace. He's also been working really hard on stuff for the worship team. The Sunday services that go out on YouTube. There's a lot of work that's been put in behind the scenes, not just from Kalani, but from James as well. James Harrison, he's been putting in loads and loads of work, and the musicians as well. So just to pray for them as well, that they kind of have everything they need, that things are straightforward, that things go smoothly, because they do work so hard, and I don't think it's always conveyed on the screen on Sunday because it looks great, it looks polished, but so much hard work is put in behind the scenes. So if the church family could just be praying as well for the worship team, that they're just kind of have everything that they need, they have joy and they have peace with all the hard work they're putting in, that would be brilliant as well. Those are awesome things to pray for, and I'll do that. We'll do that. I know we've stopped the clapping now, haven't we, for the NHS? But has it stopped? I don't know.
I guess
I'm usually at work on Thursdays, and I'm usually home after the clap, so
that's a shame. I've seen nice videos of like people coming home during the clap and people clapping. It's so nice.
Yeah, had like a few times will be just like going into a patient, like you've parked on the street and you get out of the car, and obviously we're in uniform, and then we have to put on all of our PPE as well, and people sort of walk past and just sort of give you a little clap, which is really nice.
Oh my goodness, that's so nice. I'm gonna cry. Stuff like that makes me so emotional.
It makes me emotional as well.
Wow.
It's funny though, because even though don't get me wrong, it is a big toll on the NHS, it is also our job as well. Like, our job is to serve the people of this country and look after them. Like, that is what we're here to do.
Definitely.
And I think if we're going to clap anybody, it should be like the supermarket workers, the delivery drivers, because you know, all those people, like when you kind of sign up to the NHS, you know at some point things are going to get crazy and something, you know, is going to happen. But I think when you sign up to work in a supermarket or as a delivery driver, you don't sign up to deal with a pandemic or deal, you know, something that's a result of people being ill. So I think if anyone deserves a clap, it's the key workers. Absolutely deserve the praise. And
it's a good reminder, isn't it, that it's just nice to feel appreciated. Like, we should all be just more appreciative of one another, and everyone worked hard, and it's so nice, isn't it? Well, wow, Holly, what a great time chatting with you. Really enjoyed it.
Oh, it's been nice.
But that's been me and Holly just chatting, catching up.
Catching up.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah. Oh, I miss the church family so much, Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do. That's
Yeah,
the
me
that's
too.
the,
And
that's the
you know what's
hardest
annoying?
thing.
If we go back, we probably won't be able to hug, like straight away. But
I
yeah,
know.
well, I don't know. I'm gonna try my hardest to keep the rules. But if I feel like I need to hug someone, it's made me
Yeah.
a hugger. Can you believe that?
I know, which is hilarious.
It's like, and you know how good I am at hugging.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
So yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely for people who like to hug a lot. I imagine it must be so hard.
It is, Josh. I'm a massive hugger, and I'm like, poor Kalani's copping for it. So I'm just like hugging him all the time. He's like, I've got things to do. Can you get off me? And I'm like, no, I need the hugs. So
Like have a little hug with your workmates, because I imagine when it's really difficult, you can like, I don't know. I imagine it's okay to do that.
I mean, we're supposed to be social distancing at work, so we're not really supposed to. Sometimes we bump elbows if we need like you to show someone sort of physical affection. We do a little sort of like a little elbow bump, but yeah, we're not really supposed to kind of be touching each other, so it's really sad.
Well, as long as you're not, I don't know. How's your eyes? How's your eye test, Holly? Are your glasses all right? Can you see?
Yeah, fine, thanks, Josh.
If you need to test your eyes, just go for a drive.
Oh dear.
Right, I don't know whether I'm keeping that in it.
I know, yeah. I'm so sorry because you kind of started to do this and I started talking and was like, no.
It's all right.
Goodbye.
It's all right. I think just fade out into the sunset.
Yeah, just fade it out.